Hi everybody, Giselle Grenier here from artplace.ca. I'm about to start a large workshop called the Dark Side of Vintage, and I thought what I would do is, the first step is basically where we need a journal for this project. It's preferable that you use a journal specifically for this. It's not going to be huge, but it's nice to have the journal just the one theme and have it small enough that it's easy to finish up. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of stuff, and then I'll show you some store-bought journals, which you can also look at doing. These are some of the current journals that I have. There's a couple here that I don't use specifically because of the binding, but I did them this way just so you can see. Okay, where do I start? Okay, so let's start with this one. This is a journal I did last year. This is on Taraskin. Now, Taraskin it's paper made from stone. Okay, and what I did with the Taraskin is I did a Coptic stitch on it, but the Taraskin, although it didn't tear, the holes got much bigger because it's not paper based, so I ended up having to reinforce it with duct tape. Okay, this makes a nice journal, but when it comes to using a heat gun, you can't. A heat gun on Taraskin, the Taraskin starts to warp, and you can see from this page here. I used a heat gun on this one. So, this is a nice size little book, but so Coptic stitch with Taraskin, not so much. The actual paper I'm going to use for the actual journal I'm going to be using is going to be mixed media paper. I'm going to show all of that. Okay, so that's that one. Now, with another Coptic stitch book, and the Coptic stitching is just where you can see the stitching. It's a bit complicated for what we're going to be doing. The actual stitching I'm going to be showing you is much easier, but with all of these, you may have some ideas of what you want to do. So we'll just take it from there. I just took a pizza box, and for the covers, and I just collaged some tissue paper. Okay, and that just made the cover. Then I took a napkin, one of my favorite napkins, wine bottle and nap, and this is just one that I just made up, and this is just with Strathmore drawing paper. Okay, so you can have a hard cover on it. You can also okay, that was Coptic. Now let me show you this one. This is a Japanese stab binding. It's a beautiful stitching, but your book doesn't stay open flat. Okay, I don't use this one very often. I was just demonstrating this a while ago, but it doesn't stay open flat. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I don't use this very often. I end up having to push it, then it kind of, bends the paper. So although the stitching is beautiful, I'm not a fan of this. And this is a color theory book that I have. Now this one here, I bought these posts at Lowe's. Okay, and they screw in. Okay, and this is my color theory book. The cover is just a cardboard box, and it's collaged packing paper that I got with some art supplies. And then I've got my thing. Now, although this is the same type of binding, like with the Japanese binding here, where the cover folds this way, okay, the papers don't stay open flat. This one here has Taraskin in it, which is very, very thin. Okay, and this will hold open simply because of the weight of the Taraskin. Okay, and this was for a color theory course that I was teaching a couple of years ago. So this is everything that's in here, and I don't create in here. I will create on the paper and then put the paper inside this book. Okay, so again, typically this type of stuff, they don't stay open flat. So that may not be something that you want. That's completely up to you. Okay. Let me show you these ones. Now this is this one, I think I have this on YouTube already. This is a little still life study book, a little journal that I've got going, and these here, I've got them held together with bamboo skewers. You take the bamboo skewer out, and you can actually take the page out of your journal. Okay. So that's this one, and I believe I have this on YouTube already. in addition, now I have another one, same type of style, but instead of bamboo skewers, I have strips of paper. Now this is a pet portrait. This is a portrait course I'm teaching on Interactive Artist Magazine, and it's painting portrait features, and it's different features that, I did this one upside down, but different features. Now the actual pages, same thing, they're folded, but they're held together with a strip of very, very thick paper. So these pages actually come out. So when I'm doing the painting, I'm painting on this, then when it's dry, then I will actually put it back in and then put this paper in. So these pages are removable. Okay, so that's that one. This one here, it's fairly easy, but if you're using paper, if you're going to be constantly removing the pages, you need to work with something like a really, really good stock. But because we're creating a journal specifically for the dark side of vintage, the extra work involved in doing these types, it's not really worth it. But that's totally up to you. I'm going to leave these aside. These are my favorites here. So the idea for this one and what I've done here, this style can be incorporated into this style. And all I did with this is my what I call my daily sketching, and this is just one of the books. And what it is it's paper. Basically, you fold it in half, and the way I did the binding is just a very simple stitch, and this is the stitch that's on these, and that just makes one set. So technically, a folded sheet is a folio. Many nested folios makes a signature. So this technically is a journal on its own, but many of these together makes these become signatures. I've taken many of these, and then I put together this funky book. So I had a whole bunch of these already bound, stacked them together, and then I sewed them. Then I sewed these together. Okay, I left this kind of hanging. I can put some stuff on it. And I was experimenting with some mediums here. And then, then they become bound into one piece. Okay, and for this particular book, I don't care that the string is showing. Okay, and the way I did this book with these is that this is expandable, so I can build a lot of texture inside these pages. Okay, so this is just one way. So the stitch I'm going to be actually showing in another video how to make up these things. You can then just take these and sew them together. Okay, I think that makes sense. Now for those of you that know bookbinding and that, you don't even need to watch this. I'm doing this part more for people who are just getting their feet wet in journaling, or who want to kind of do something a little bit different than going to the store and buying a journal. This is one as well. Now this one here, I actually damaged the journal, but this is the same thing, same type of thing, folded pages, sewed with the same stitch. Okay, this is the parchment, this is vellum, different types in here. And then some of these, so what I did is the drawings I was able to rescue, I cut them out and I just glued them in here. And then I just took a cover, which was just random background I painted, and I got this tape and I thought I'd try the tape, and the tape is crap, but yeah, it's there. Okay, so that's that. And then that's the same one. Then again, taking a set like this, and then what I did I also to this took a random background. Okay, put it through, folded it, okay, then stitched it. So then I had a background on it, and then I just kind of randomly colored it in, and I glued strips of excess paper that I cut off, and just made this. And this is, again, another journal that I had damaged, so I ended up taking some of the pieces, gluing them inside this is called my apple book, okay, which is nothing but pieces on apples, okay. So then the big one, this is another color theory journal. Many of these, Okay, many of these, and they are all together like this. And then I just sewed them really rough here. I like this look. And then this is faux leather. And so it's just all color mixes and stuff that I do while I'm teaching, and techniques on how, you know, paints work with something, and my notes, and you know, it just goes on. I record everything, and you know, there's some fancy folds and, you know, stuff here and little charts here and there. So this works out quite nicely. Then I just have an elastic to hold it. Okay, so these last ones I was showing you are all based on this. Okay, we put that aside. Okay, now I want to show you these. Now hopefully it's been raining today, and Mia's full of a little bit of an energy, so hopefully she's going to stay quiet. So so these ones here are based on the same type of sewing as this. Okay, and basically these are with a full sheet of watercolor paper, and then, you know, you can fold them where you don't have a flap or whatever, and then you just sew them together, and you can get. And I like the rough edge. I actually took sandpaper to rough this edge up. So there's ones with flaps, and then there's ones without. Same type of stitching. This one's with Taraskin, exactly the same thing, but no flaps. Okay, I didn't care for the flaps on this one, and now this book is actually quite heavy because it is Taraskin, but you see it does stay open flat, except where things stuck together. Okay, I think I spilled something on here. The nice thing with Taraskin is that it doesn't tear. Okay, so again, same type of stitching. And then here's the last one. Now this one's done with basically leftover Taraskin, and I didn't want to throw it out, so I made up a book and another journal it's a whole series of journals that got damaged. They got wet. And I just basically glued my colored pencil pieces in here. Okay, so not to waste it, so you can use scrap paper to make your journal as well. Okay. I am going to be showing you how to do this journal here, this style, okay, this style with the flaps. And then if you don't like the flaps, you basically just don't fold them. You just basically just fold everything in half. I'm going to show you how to do this. And I think I have it on my YouTube channel as well, but I'll do a fresh one. So I'm going to show you how to do this, which is called the Pamphlet Stitch. Easy peasy. Okay, put that aside. This is my ultimate favorite style of binding because you add to it as you go. Now, yeah, I taped this because I wasn't sure if I wanted this on there. This is an evolving journal. And basically what it is I create the pieces on individual pages, and then I add to it. All I do is I put an eyelet, and then I sew into a piece of denim. Okay, so as I go through, and it holds open flat, and then let's say if I wanted to add something in here, another page in between here, I can. All I do is just sew it. This is simple sew, and then a knot. That's all it is. I can add different things in here, so it does allow for thick pieces. And the really cool thing is that I can put this Taraskin, I could put a full size piece and just fold it in there. Small pieces. These are artists that I enjoy. Lee Hammond, Jerry Arnell. Jerry Arnell, love his stuff. J.D. Hilberry. Zorica, she's in Hamilton. Carrie Stewart Parks. Adriana Almanza, I love her dolls. Gary Jenkins and Catherine Jenkins, but Buck Paulson, he is my mentor. He's the one that basically got me into fine art, and I just love him. He's my what I call my other father. Absolutely love him. A wonderful man to talk to. So basically I could put small pieces in there, and I just go on, and you know, and then I can put smaller pieces. This is my absolute favorite way of binding, and a current journal project that I'm working on with my group. We are, every month there's a theme, we create a page and we send it to somebody. So we've got a whole bunch of individual 8x10 pieces, and this is how I'm going to be binding mine. It's the least amount of damage to the actual page, and you can just keep adding to it. Okay, this is a very, very thick piece. And I just keep adding it. Once it's finished, I'll just trim everything down, and then I can glue a nice piece of fabric over this, or use duct tape to seal everything in. That's it. Okay, love this method. Now, if we scoot on over, back February, March of 2012, our dog passed away, and I went through a troubling period, and all I did was create backgrounds, and backgrounds and journaling. So I have all these backgrounds, and what I do with these, I use them to create other pieces. So I have on my YouTube channel a whole bunch of videos on this. You can take stuff like this to make your cover. You know, just fold it, okay? And like if you just get pages, fold them in half. You know, pretend this is the same size, sew it in, and there's your cover. You know, how easy is that? Or cut it down to size and glue it. Okay, so you don't have to be fancy. But with the theme of the dark side of vintage, I could use something like this. You know, if you have something already done, you don't have to make something special. If you already have something done, I like the red. Okay, so you can do something like that. Use something that's you already have. If you want to go with a store-bought, there's a gazillion different ways that you can go. This is Recollections from Michaels. Chipboard with ring binders. You don't have to do this. If you already have backgrounds already done, hole punch them. You can buy these at Staples. They're really, really cheap. I got this on sale just for the fact of demonstrating it. It is nice, but when it comes to journaling, I don't like using anything manufactured. I don't know why. I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with it. And then I've got, these are my little drawing journals. This is my Funny Faces book. And all I'm doing here, this whole piece is because I'm an actual portrait artist, I have a lot of trouble doing unrealistic faces. Everything that I do, I tend to measure and do everything, you know, actual portrait style. So I'm going through trying to unperfect myself, so I can do more fantasy style faces. Joe gets mad because he says, all that money we spent on your schooling and you're going to do that. So, but these are nice little journals. These are like little Canson books. I don't know if these are Canson or Curry's. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But everybody's seen these. Then I have this one for animals, and this is the one that I was using to teach at a course. Coast to Coast, I was teaching a course, and I was using this to demonstrate on. So these are paper based, so if you're going to use wet medium to paint in, these are just basically for drawing. Absolute amazing journal. I can't find myself to create anything into it. This is a Strathmore visual journal. It's with the mixed media paper. Absolutely wonderful. Pages are nice and thick, but I'm having so much trouble doing anything in this. And for those of you that follow me, you'll know why. And we're looking at it right here. The white page, the blank page, this scares me. Actually, last month, the theme that I set for the for our journal page theme was, what are you challenging me? My challenge is working with white. I get stuck. My brain goes stupid when it comes to working with white. So, but anyways, amazing journals. But I mean, this is a bit big for what we need, because we only need about 16 to 20 pages, depending on how many themes I have here for the dark side of vintage. Because it's going to be the dark side of vintage, and then there's a sub theme. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to basically show you how to make this. And then I'm also going to show you how to make a journal using newspapers, so you don't have to go out and buy any paper. Now, making it a newspaper, it does take a little bit of extra work, and you'll need some type of glue, and preferably gesso if you have it. Let me just show you. Gesso is some type of it's not even pigment. Think of it like chalk, like chalky glue. Okay, and what it is, it creates a nice tooth and it gives something for your paint to stick on. So think of it like a primer. Okay, so you'll need that for sure. But we're going to do this type of journal, okay, a pamphlet style journal, with or without flaps. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, and I'm going to show it with a sheet of watercolor paper. My timer just went off. A sheet of watercolor paper, and also with newspapers. And I think I'm also going to talk a little bit more about this when it comes to actually making the journals, because I think this one's a really, really good one, because you can really, with the theme of the dark side of vintage, you can really do a lot with this type of thing. All right, so that takes care of the introduction, and if you'd like more information about the Dark Side of Vintage journal project, you can get that information at creativeartjournaling.com. So until next time, get some supplies of what you need, and then in a few upcoming videos, I'm going to make the videos nice and short on making individual journals.